Hello everyone, my name is Saranya and I'm doing PhD in neuroscience at the University of Tasmania. And I'm really happy and honored to be a part of the Inspiring Women in STEM 2024 Fellowship Program. A little bit about myself. I'm from India, specifically from the southern part of India, a state called as Tamil Nadu. And I've zoomed in to show you guys something fascinating. If you look at the border of the state, it kind of looks like the face of a person from sideways. And I always thought this was very cool and I wanted to show you guys. Okay, so my hometown is really closer to the sea, so it's really nice and warm and refreshing, but sometimes it gets really hot as well. And I've grown up having amazing and tasty seafood, so it's really a nice place to live in. I did my schooling, my bachelor's, and my master's all in and around my hometown region. And I think the love for science started for me from a very young age, and the reason is my dad. Me and my dad used to do a lot of science experiments at home. So whatever I learned from him, like he used to tell me a lot of science fun facts. So whatever I learned from him, I go to school, discuss that with my friends and teachers, and we used to have fun about it. So what started as a fun discussion turned out to be like a great passion for me, and I started participating in many science fair and competitions. So after my schooling, I did my bachelor's in biotechnology, and the reason for that is more of science fiction than science by itself. It's because of a movie that inspired me a lot, and this movie is called as Eram Arivu, which translates to Seventh Sense. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story of the movie. Long story short, so the movie has a really handsome hero who is the descendant of Bodhidharma, who is a Pallava king and a great master in martial arts and medicine. And then we have our heroine, who is really beautiful and an intelligent genetic engineering scientist. So the story is kept around a time when there is a very big pandemic going on, and bad guys are coming to the country, killing people, and waging a bio war. And in order to save the people, our heroine, the intelligent scientist, genetic engineering scientist, she does really cool experiment on the hero. She does some, magic, some genetic engineering experiment on the hero, tapping into his DNA, bringing back all the ancestral memories. So the guy who was like zero in martial arts and medicine suddenly has become a master of it. He fights the bad guys and finds the cure for the pandemic and saves the day. So I wanted to become like the genetic engineering scientist who can do cool experiments on people. Well, cool experiments. So that is the reason I wanted to do biotechnology. And after joining biotechnology, I realized that, that's not how science works. But this journey of my bachelor's gave me a lot of experience, and I got to learn a lot of cool stuff. So it was in my third year of bachelor's, I got really passionate about neuroscience. I got really passionate about research. And there were a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I got a very prestigious research fellowship award called as Indian Academy of Science Fellowship at the top institute in India, Indian Institute of Science, where I got to do 2 months internship in a neuroscience laboratory. I got to experience firsthand what research feels like, what other neuroscientists do, what PhD students do, and their cool projects. I had my own project. I was working on mice, and I was trying to understand the long term and short term memory with generalization and discrimination experiments. It was really cool. So these 2 months basically gave me an idea that yes, I like research a lot, and I would like to do that. And the second reason that made me really focus my research on neuroscience was because of my dad. So my dad got diagnosed with this neurological condition called as epilepsy, where the brain is having abnormal activity due to the neuronal communication disturbance, and this leads to kind of triggering of seizures, which is basically uncontrolled electrical activity in the brain. So we went to a lot of doctors, and this disorder basically does not have any cure. That's when I realized that a lot of neurological disorders like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, they do not have cure at all. Lots of scientists around the world are trying to figure a cure for that, but even today we do not have a proper cure for these disorders. So that kind of paved my path towards neuroscience. That is, I wanted to do research in neuroscience to find a cure for these disorders. So after my bachelor's, I did my master's in biopharmaceutical technology because I was very interested in drug discovery and pharmaceuticals, like how these drugs react on our body and how our body metabolizes these drugs. I felt like it was really important to understand these things when we are basically studying about some disorders and diseases. After my master's brings me to the present, that is, I'm doing PhD in neuroscience at the University of Tasmania. So this was like a dream come true situation for me because this dream started in my bachelor's itself, and the journey from my bachelor's to my present, all the decisions that I took, all the sacrifices that I had to do, and hard work, lot of hard work, all of that brought me to where I'm today. So it's a dream come true situation for me. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word neuroscience? Well, if it's neuron, brain, science, smart, dumb, weird, interesting, anything that comes to your mind, it's all correct. So neuroscience is basically study about our brain. It's a brain science. So it's like trying to figure out how our brain works, and how we are able to think, how we are able to feel emotions, how we are able to remember things, and how our brain controls our whole body and the way we are able to do our day to day activities like talking, walking, sleeping, listening, digesting, everything. Everything is controlled by our brain. Okay. Would you like to know a fun fact? Our brain basically consists of 86 billion neurons. That's a lot of neurons. And these neurons, they communicate with each other, sending and receiving signals to each other throughout the brain and throughout the body. And that's how we are able to do our day to day activities. So, this neuronal communication is very important. So, how do neurons basically communicate with each other? That's a very interesting question. So neurons communicate with each other using chemical signaling molecules. We call them as neurotransmitters and neuropeptides. So in this figure, we can see a neuron trying to communicate with another neuron. And if we have a close look at the junction here, we can see the first neuron is basically sending some kind of chemical signals that reaches the second neuron. So depending upon what message is in this chemical signal, that can activate the neuron or inactivate the neuron. So it's really important, that is, this communication is really important for keeping us happy, healthy, and making us capable of doing day-to-day activities. So it's really important to understand how the neuronal communication works. So what happens if the neuronal communication is disturbed? That's an interesting question, and I'm so glad you asked me that. So, if the neural communication is disturbed, that could lead to a lot of impairment and deficits in our body, like cognitive deficits, which can be difficult, which can be causing a lot of problems with our memory, attention, learning, and problem solving. So, all these abilities could be impaired. Then comes sensory perception, the way we perceive senses like the vision, hearing, taste, smell, touch, all of this could be impaired. Motor control, coordination, and balance, leading to conditions like, if impairment in these things could lead to conditions like tremors, weakness in muscle, and paralysis, in the worst case scenario as well. So all of this could happen. And there can be behavioral and emotional changes that brings out symptoms leading to depression, anxiety, irritability, and mood swings. So all of this could happen. And if the neuronal communication disturbance is prolonged and severe, that could lead to neurological disorders like epilepsy, the disorder that my dad has, which causes seizures and uncontrollable brain activity. It could lead to Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, or even schizophrenia. A lot of neurological disorders could lead to because of neuronal communication disturbance. And this may even lead to developmental neuro disorders like autism and ADHD. So it's really important for our brain to keep the neuronal communication proper for a proper brain functioning. And the disruption could lead to a lot of effects ranging from disruption in neuronal health, neurological health, and even cognitive deficits. So it's very important for us to understand how the neuronal communication occurs, like what are the molecules involved, where are they released from, where is their target, and how do they affect the behavior. All this information could give us strategies and approaches in which we can make treatment and cure for these disorders. Okay, so this brings to my PhD project. So, in my PhD project, I'm trying to understand how neuropeptides, focusing on oxytocin and vasopressin, are released from the neurons and how they affect the behavior. So we are focusing on oxytocin and vasopressin because they are very important and are involved in a wide range of activities. They regulate a lot of activities in our body. Like they regulate fear memory formation and learning. They regulate emotion, cognition, social bonding, anxiety, stress response. And they also regulate like hunger, thirst, and circadian rhythm, that is our sleep wake cycle. So they are involved in a variety of activities, and any disruption in these activities could basically affect the behavior. In some studies, it's shown that the neurological disorders like epilepsy, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and multiple sclerosis, schizophrenia, so in these diseases, there is disruption of oxytocin and vasopressin. Till date, we do not know if there is a direct link between these neuropeptides to the neurological disorders, but it would be really important and useful for us to know if there is a direct link. So, in my PhD project, I'm trying to understand the underlying mechanism um, behind how the neuropeptides are released and how they affect the behavior. Okay, so this is my journey in science so far. Like from me being interested in fun science facts and experiments performed at home to pursuing my dream research career. But this journey was not always smooth. It had its own challenges and limitations as well. So I want to highlight some of the difficulties and challenges that I faced and lot of women face even today, specifically from the rural regions, and how we can address these challenges and difficulties through my project in the Inspiring Women in STEM 2024 Fellowship Program. Okay, so it starts with like the education of a male child is given more importance in comparison to the female child. So this is a very common problem, not just in India, but I think in rest of the world as well. And this is due to the societal norms and gender-based expectations. Like males are the primary breadwinners, and the females are like bound to domestic duties and caretaking. So I had to face this personally, and the society in which I was brought up is like the male child is like really important and given all the freedom and opportunities, given the best education as possible. But the female child from a very young age is trained vigorously to do household chores like cooking, cleaning, being a good daughter, good wife, and good mother. In my case, I was able to break this gender based expectation and societal pressure thanks to my mom. My mom personally had to face all of these things in her life, but she didn't want me to get entangled in these, societal based norms to get out of it. She fought relentlessly with the society, my relatives, and even with my dad to provide the best of education that I could get and all the opportunities that I could get. And that's the reason, like, she's my hero. And because of her, I'm able to pursue my dream today. I'm able to have my dream career. I'm able to do research today, all thanks to my mom. And the other reasons that the women go through is that a lot of girls drop out of school after puberty and due to financial hardships. I have seen this personally in my life. Like a lot of my female friends dropped out of school after puberty because after puberty, it's like the parents kind of think, okay, now the child can be molded up to become a good marriage material. And a lot of girls drop out of school due to financial hardship, specifically in the rural regions where the parents cannot afford to send their children to school. So in that case, the children drop out of school after a certain age and go for daily wage jobs. And early marriages are encouraged, but not education and career. This is a very common thing as well. And I think the reason here is the female financial independence is not given any importance. And I strongly urge that it's really important for the female to be financially independent, for her to take her own decisions in life. And I think education is one way which could give you all of these things. So, keeping all these things in my mind, I designed my project for the Inspiring Women in STEM 2024 project. So my project is to distribute STEM kits. So we have done this already to two primary and two secondary come higher secondary schools. So basically, these are girls' school, government-run school in my region, managed by the tribal community in my region. Because it's a government school, the government provides everything that is necessary for them, starting from books, uniforms, and they also have a midday meal plan. This basically attracts the students, and they want to make sure the students have proper education. They come to school, attend, and they learn as much as they could. So these are some of the really good things that the government is doing. So I had the opportunity to have a nice discussion with the headmasters of the school, and even the science teachers, to see like what are some of the difficulties that the female students are facing, like why are they dropping out of the school, and why are they not pursuing further education, and what are some of the things that we can do that would break this cycle and make them inspired to pursue education. So that's when we figured out that even though government does everything for the schools, there's something that is lacking here, that they do not have a lab facility, like a really good full-fledged lab facility. And that was a big deal for me, because as a PhD student, as a researcher, I feel it's really important that the theoretical knowledge that we gain to be converted to practical knowledge. And that's how the science grows, that's how the people are inspired to pursue their education. So I collaborated with these schools, and we came to a conclusion, like what are the things that would need uh, in the schools, in the primary school as well as in the secondary school, that we could provide through the Inspiring Women in STEM 2024 fellowship project. Okay, so initially the plan was to provide the STEM kits to two schools, one primary school, one secondary school. But then later, I was able to do this for four schools, two primary schools and two secondary high secondary school. And the best part was my parents, because they helped me deliver all of these things to the school. I was not there in India at the time. I was here in Tasmania. So my parents got all these items, delivered it to the schools, and when they delivered it, I was able to have a Zoom conference with them, talking to these students about science, neuroscience, and what are the opportunities they have in STEM. So it was a very beautiful opportunity for me as well. So yeah, so these kits basically contains science and math related stuff. For the primary kids, it was around 145 items in each kit. 145 items in each kit. So some of the items that I would like to highlight is, for the primary kits, like they had geometry boxes, lenses, mirrors, compass, and magnets. They also requested for charts and posters, and art supplies, and a simple and compound microscope with slides and specimens, the models of human body, different body parts, plants parts, and solar system kits. So these are some of the to name a few. These are some of the items in the primary kit. For the secondary and senior secondary kit, it included around 203 items, starting with microscopes, like compound microscopes and dissection microscopes, tools required for that, slides and specimens. And for the physics lab kits, we had lenses, mirrors, and circuit boards, logic gates, soldering equipments, and all the resistors, capacitors, diodes, ammeter, voltmeter, spring balance. And for the chemistry lab, all the glasswares that is required, starting from funnels and breakers, test tubes, and the racks required for them, tripod stand, and calorimeters and different tools that they need, filter paper, china dish, burettes and pipettes, separating funnel, measuring cylinders. These are the things that I could name a few. They had a lot of items, and I think the school was very happy. The science teachers were very happy, because they assured me that whatever they are reading in their books, they can now do that as an experiment. So that was basically my project as well. Like whatever they're reading, I want them to experience that. I want them to experiment that and get inspired to pursue science. So here are some of the images where the students are having fun with the kits that we provided. And in this image, we can see here that the teacher is teaching them how to use microscope using different slides. And on the right, we can see here they're trying to determine the local, like the focal length of the convex lens here. Okay, so this video is very close to my heart. So in this video, one of the students from 9th grade, she's explaining how she feels about the science kits and pursuing education. It made my day, and this video basically motivates me a lot. She's speaking in Tamil, but I have translated that into English and put that on the right side of the slide. I want to play this video for you.
Good morning to all. எங்களுக்கு வந்து இவ்வளோ நிறைய சயின்ஸ்க்கு தேவையான விஷயம்லாம் கொடுத்துருக்கீங்க. நிறைய வந்து எங்கள் ஸ்கூலில் இல்லை. ஸோ எங்களுக்காக, எங்களோட யூஸ்க்காக நீங்கள் வந்து கொடுத்துருக்கீங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் தேங்க்ஸ் டு யூ. அக்கா மாதிரி ஒரு இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனை நான்
Okay, so this video is really close to my heart, and I'm very grateful to the Inspiring Women in STEM Fellowship program. Because of them, I'm able to feel this. Basically, I feel like I have achieved the goals that I have already thought for the Inspiring Women in STEM Fellowship program. So my motto was very simple. I wanted to inspire the young female minds to have fun with science, pursue education, be passionate about their career, and have financial independence in their life. So these are some of my motives. But these kids, when I spoke with them over Zoom and even in this video, they have this fire in them already to become something in life, and all they need is the proper opportunities and the resources. And I'm really confident that they will reach great heights in their life. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this. Okay, so a message from current women in STEM to the future women in STEM is that education is very important and it has the power to change life. It did for me, and I believe that it can do for several other young females as well. It can give you knowledge, career, passion, financial independence, confidence, and a better life. And the other message is that conversion of theoretical knowledge to practical knowledge is very important. That's the only way we can grow science. That's the only way we can improve technology and inspire young minds. So, thank you so much, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity.